Hey everybody, it's me, Tom Angelberger, the author of The Strange Case of Origami Yoda, the new Two-Headed Chicken graphic novel series, and of course a ton of other books. I'm here today to show you how to make some origami. Now I've got tons of origami videos online already. This one is a little different than most. This is a lot different. I usually make easy puppets like the one you just saw that just take a few folds. This AT-AT all-terrain armored transport Imperial Walker is a little a little more detailed, a little more complicated, but I'm really pleased with them. I made a bigger version too. There we go. And as you can see, it's not going to look like much from the top, but they do stand up. That was important to me. I wanted to make sure they could stand up. So if you like that and you want to fold one, stick with me. I'll show you how to fold it. Just posted another video, by the way, of Art 2D2. This is trying to help you make one that's just like the cover of the book, Art 2D2. So you can look for that video if you like that better than an AT-AT. Or if you want to fold Yoda, the Mandalorian, Godzilla. I've got tons of other instructions on YouTube and on my website, origamiyoda.com. All right, we've got a lot to do to get this AT-AT made, so let's get busy. Move, oops, that's Donnie Osmond. His head almost fell off there. Give myself a little room here. Put this to the side for right now. I'll leave this up here for now and help us. All right, folks, here we go. If you can find a sheet of gray paper, this is what you want. If you can only find a sheet of white paper, that's all right. It still looks pretty good. I've got a couple of white ones lying around here. You might even want to make a couple ones out of white paper first before you go using your gray paper. Now I'm making this out of cardstock, or it's not even cardstock, it's slightly heavy paper. But if you can only find copy paper, that's okay. It's still going to stand up because of the way it's designed. It still stands up even with copy paper. So if all you need is a sheet of paper, gray if you can, here we go. Okay, I almost folded it the wrong way. We want to fold it hot dog, not hamburger. Okay, I'm going to have to move Donnie out of the way for a second here. It starts off a little big. It'll be getting smaller soon. So we're going to take this, we're going to fold it almost all the way to the top. Not quite all the way. I'm just leaving about 1 centimeter up there. Can you see that? I'm leaving about 1 centimeter. Now, the closer to the top it is, the longer the legs are going to be. So if you go to make a couple different versions of this later, let's see if we can get all that in there. If you go to make a couple different versions of this later, and you want to make the legs longer, you can adjust that. But for right now, we're going to leave it like that, almost to the top. Now unfold it, and now take the top and fold it down almost to the crease. It's strange, there's a lot of almosts in this particular fold. I'm going to be saying almost quite a lot. All right, now give this a nice crease across the top here. This fold is going to stay. That's going to stay for the rest of the time. So stay, make a good crease up there like that. All right. Now let's flip the paper over, and I'm actually going to, there we go, flip it over. All right, are you ready for another almost? Take one side and fold it almost all the way to the other side. Now this paper that we leave here is going to be a little tab that's going to help us hold the whole thing together. So don't scrimp. Leave a little bit of room there. Okay. Now give this a good fold. All right. Now if you're using cardstock, this next one's going to be hard. If you're just using regular paper, no problem. You're just going to fold this over to here. Okay. Not all the way to the edge, but just to that previous fold. Okay. Squash that down good. Man, that is heavy paper. That is serious business. You know, you can always use your scissors, the edge of the scissors here, to get an extra good fold. There we go. All right. Now, If you thought that was bad, now we're going to try to fold this piece here over all these other pieces. I'm going to turn this just a little bit so you can see better. I'm just folding this like that. Okay, now that crease doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to unfold all this, and now we can make it's a little easier to make that crease now. All right, now we're going to fold this whole thing up into basically a tube, or a little rectangular tube is the basic shape of the AT-AT. So here's how we do it. This first crease here needs to be folded in the other direction. So I'm going to just fold it up. I'm staying on the same crease, just creasing it in the other direction. Okay, and now each crease is going to allow it to come together. And normally we would slip this little tab inside, but actually for this particular model, we're going to slap the big piece inside of that tab like that. And as you can see, that makes a very sturdy tube, and it's actually sturdy enough that you don't necessarily need tape, but we're going to be working with this quite a bit. So let's go ahead and grab a piece of tape. Okay, now get that tape and tape it on the inside. Okay, I know. A lot of people don't like to use tape with their origami. You don't have to. This model works without it. I'm just going to trim that tape. And you will save yourself a lot of headaches if you just go ahead and tape it down. Okay? So don't be a Harvey. Just go ahead and put some tape on your origami. All right? Now, while we've got this piece up, while we're looking at this piece here, with the tab, we are now going to squash the tube flat. And to help, you're going to put your fingers in and pull out on the ends a little bit so you can squash it flat. Okay. See how we're squashing that flat? Now we're going to go ahead and squash it all the way flat like that. It seems like we've done a lot of work to end up with a rectangle, but believe me, we are making progress. All right, now we're going to start doing some cutting. Now, when I make kirigami, which is when you cut origami basically to make kirigami with scissors, I like to make as few cuts as possible. Well, that's out the window with this model. There's a lot of cuts on this model. So it's barely even origami or kirigami. It's more of a craft project. Just relax and have fun with it. All right, now, I don't want this tab here, this thing here, to distract me. So I'm going to flip the paper over. Okay. And I'm going to start cutting the legs. Let's get this guy in here now that we have room. I'm going to start cutting these legs. Now, here's how it works. That crease there is going to be in the middle of the leg. But as you can see, it's not exactly the middle of the leg. It's a little... You're going to cut once here for the foot. Now, it's a little thinner on this side than on that side. So you're going to cut over so it's very close to that crease. And you're going to cut straight up until you get to that first crease, the very first crease we made, and you'll stop cutting there. Okay? It'll look like that. So now on the other side, this leg is bigger. So we're going to cut here, like this, diagonal, and then we're going to go up like this. And as you can see, it's at least twice as big. Twice as wide, I mean, like that. Okay. And while we're at it, while we're holding this here, we're going to trim these corners off. All right, there you go. It's starting to look like an AT-AT, isn't it? Well, at least it looks like the foot. All right, let's make the back. Same thing. This time, the wider section we're going to do first. This is going to be wider. So we flip here, and we want it to kind of match the first one we did. It does not have to be exact. Make sure, by the way, that you're cutting through all the layers of paper. I was actually messed that up and almost missed out on the back layer. Okay, cutting this all the way up to that crease. All right, now there are things you can do with these flaps here, you can figure out a way to have them go inside to sort of support the structure. But honestly, I find them just annoying. We've done so many cuts now. Why be afraid to do one more? Just cut them off. All right, there we go. Goodbye. All right, now remember this as we cut the back leg. Remember, we're aiming to have it a little smaller, a little less wide. So we cut like that. And don't forget to trim the feet. There you go. All right, now you see, flip it over a second and you'll see there's a half a leg. There's like a fifth leg here. Once again, let's just cut that off. Okay. All right. I'll get it out of here. Okay. All right. Sometimes my own incompetence amuses me while I make these videos. All right. Let's see here. Where are we? Oh, yeah. I think you can see the legs, and maybe you can even start to see where the head's going to come from. Let's just open it up a little bit. Open it up a little bit here. And if you put your thumb inside of this part here and start to work with it, as you open it up, it will allow you to fold that up like that. And then this part's familiar to people that have folded an origami crane or something like that, possibly. Uh-oh, hold on, wait, hold everything. My tape came loose here. Okay, let me get that tape back there. There we go. All right, so there we go. That's where the head's gonna be. And as we try to bend this forward, the same way that you bend a crane's head forward, and if you've never done it, that's okay. As we, there we go, there it goes. It's just gonna snap into place once you get it bent right, and then you're gonna squash it down. Okay, we want it to stick out fairly straight or just slightly down. Okay, as we fold things flat again, it's gonna wanna go down a lot. So don't let it go don't let it point completely down. You want it pointing sort of straight out from the body. Okay, now you'll notice that head is too long. Don't worry, we'll get back to that in a minute. But right now I want to do a similar move on the back here. So once again, we open up our tube a little bit. That allows us to bend this up, and then we're going to bend it back down again, and then up again like that. And that creates, if you look at the actual AT-AT, he's got like an exhaust port or something. So that can be back there. If you think it's too many layers, you can always trim right across here. But the more little doodads you have on this, the better. It's, as you may know, it's called greebling. The Star Wars model makers put lots of little extra bits and pieces on all of their stuff. And the AT-AT has a lot of those little bits and pieces. All right, so we're doing pretty good here. We're doing pretty good. Let's try to make that head look a little more like a proper AT-AT head. And by the way, as you'll notice, it's pointing down, but when you open up the model a little bit, you can already see that it starts to point up just a little bit. Hey, this would be a great time to test it out. Make sure it works. Does it stand up? This one stands up, but if it's not standing up for you, just pinch these creases in the legs just a little bit, and I don't think you'll have any trouble getting it to stand up after that. Stands up pretty good. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can do the head. Now, once again, this is not an easy origami move. This may be a little frustrating to you. I hope it's not too frustrating. It's a little bit tricky. You're going to take this and you're going to try to bend it so it fits inside the head. Okay, does that even make sense? I'm not sure that it does. It's going to bend back. Okay, let's see if we can line them up. See how this one is so much shorter? That's because I took this part and bent it and hit it inside the head like that. So let me see if we can get that to work. If you put your thumb inside and your finger here, and you start pinching it together like that, the front will bend back and go inside. And you don't want it to go, normally if you were doing some other piece of origami like a crane or something, you would want it to completely hide inside. But we actually want to get a little bit of this look that the we want it to have a little bit extra there. Okay. All right. So I'm not sure actually what happened here, that the shape is a little wrong, but I can easily fix that by just tucking these corners inside like that. There it is. There it is. I think you can see how that worked out. Just a couple steps left here and we're finished with the folding. Once again, we're going to bend these corners and put them inside the model. I think origami, real origami fold is called the sinking. You're going to push that corner until it pops inside, and then we close things back up. We'll do the same thing in the back. We'll give it a little crease here just to help it bend, and then we will push that with a finger until it goes inside. We want those to be about even with each other. It's not necessary that it be perfect. Is that about even? That looks about even. So now, if you push things together, let this model open up a little bit, it should be a lot like the one we were trying to make here, and it should stand up. Uh-oh, he's not standing up. He's not standing up anymore. What happened? Oh man, for a minute there I was panicking. All right. So, what have I done here extra? I've cut out a few octagons out of the same gray paper. One here, and one here, and one here. And then on the other side, one here, there, and there. So these are those knee joints. And then, of course, they're not exactly eyes, but they're something like it. And then this is literally just a couple of little strips of paper that are taped or glued inside there. That part is super simple. Doesn't look great from every angle, does it? But if you want to see what it looks like, that's what it looks like inside. That's what it looks like from the side. I thought it needed a little more of that greebling. Maybe we'll call this an extra piece of angle. So I just cut out a rectangle, trimmed the corners off, and left it like that. Glued it on. And there's the exhaust port in the back. And this side already looks a little interesting because it's got that tab that's actually an important part of the construction. Here it looks like greebling. But I went ahead and added another little piece here just to give a little something more. If you want to, you can always, of course, look at a real AT-AT model and add details based on that. I think you could actually spend a lot of time adding details and make this really nice. But if you just want to have fun, I think we've done enough, don't you? One last thing you might want to do, how about a little string and a tiny little Luke skyfolder hanging down underneath there? All right, folks, I think we've got it. Here, maybe these two are about to have a battle. And that guy's way in the background somewhere. There we go. I think we've done it, folks. I think we've done it. If I can find the origami version of myself, I'll say goodbye to everybody. Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, don't forget to check out my other folding videos. I've got Star Wars stuff and tons of other stuff for you to fold. And of course, I hope I'll see you on origamiyoda.com, which is where all the super folders get together to show off all the stuff they've made. All right, I hope you had a good time making the AT-AT, and I hope you check out the R2-D2 that's just been put up. And most of all, I hope that the Force will be with you always. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you next time.